Morning all, good afternoon, good evening for the ones who just joined us. Matt, thank you for joining us. I'm Luis Miguel Alexo. I'm the Managing Director and co-founder of BRIK BC projects. We tokenize Australian real estate property. That was just a song by Like Thieves, a rock band from Australia, a local Brisbane band. This song was called Alibi, a little softer song of their range from the Wolves at Winter's Edge EP they released 9 years ago. So today's NFT is actually going to be one of their NFTs that's been created for their album to capture in terms of who they are and this particular album. So again, that particular song is a soft version of their repertoire because very much they're sort of between a heavy metal and a hard rock band. So I do enjoy some of the music. I'm actually thinking one the actual songwriter and lead guitarist and producer for the band, Odin Johansson, is actually my nephew. So there's a bit of family connection, so I can be biased. But yeah, I hope you enjoy that. There will be an NFT for the people who join us live today to send out there. But yeah, look, today's session. It's about in terms of the activities around the BRIK BC of late, and also just touch on and provide a bit of hints in terms of our BRIK Dolphin, the Gold Coast property that's going to be coming soon. And I've sort of put some hints out there and so forth in terms of what's to come. Today, as a little suggestion last week from Matt, and who actually is with us, Matt from Sporting Sharks, to actually maybe put a video recording around this session, the BRIK Q&As, so people can actually see it live. So it's actually been recorded as well. So the BRIK Q&As on YouTube will have a visual to it as well, rather than just being audio. So thank you, Matt, for that suggestion. So not too sure how it's going to work out. Trying to focus on the Twitter space in terms of what's happened there, and also making sure I have visual eye contact with the camera. But anyway, see how it goes. If it all goes shit, I'll just blame you, Matt. But otherwise, if it goes great, then yeah, kudos to you, mate. But thank you, Nat. Just always enjoy laughter, and so but thank you guys for joining us. Yeah, look, in terms of probably a bit of housekeeping first. As I said, the NFT is going to be there. Today we're just a bit of an overview in terms of today's session. Bit of an intro. We'll go through a bit of an intro in terms of who I am and BRIK BC and what is real estate tokenization. We'll go into the topic of today in terms of the activities around the article that was written about us by STM Markets, which we're very grateful for what Jackson did. So we'll just touch on that and go into some of the activities around that. Also the Gold Coast property, the BRIK Dolphin. We'll talk about some of the things around that without revealing too much, because there is something that I'll talk about after in terms of what's happening from that perspective. Talk about also the real estate exchange secondary market. I had a chat with the guys there, and things are progressing well. As I said, our objective is obviously go from our internal secondary market on our platform to then actually provide a bit more liquidity and go into an external secondary market where we can actually put obviously the property tokens on there from all the series as we go along, and to provide additional liquidity. So I had a chat with the guys, and things are progressing well. So I'll give it an update in terms of from that perspective. And then we'll sort of touch on also on the BRIK Koala in terms of a bit of an update in terms of what's happening from that perspective. But yeah, so there's some pinned tweets I'll put up. You can see the dolphin doing a bit of a dance. He's excited. Is about to be released. So so he's doing circles. So that's the first tweet there. Second tweet, pinned tweet, talks about in terms of obviously the BRIK Koala, in terms of us, and get into a bit more detail in terms of how to. Third one in terms of how to purchase BRIK tokens, but obviously BRIK Koala is the current series. So obviously once Dolphins released, there'll also be one there for Dolphins, so showing people what to do, which is the same process, same platform, so nothing changes, just that there'll be two properties instead of one on the platform to be able to buy into. Just the next one there, which dolphin do you like? As there's a series of properties there on that pinned tweet in the video, you'll see that there's quite a few different properties that we have under review. So one of them is going to be the next one. But tell us in the comments, maybe just make some comments as to which one you like. Put a screenshot of the one you like and stick it in the screenshot there to let us know your thoughts. And then basically the last one is a bit of taste of the Gold Coast in terms of the iconic spots on the Gold Coast, and also some of the iconic people in terms of some of the things that have been very much iconic to the Gold Coast. Which is, the Gold Coast is located around 70 kilometres south of Brisbane, so it is our second focus area. So you can see some of the things that are very iconic to the Gold Coast. It's very much one of the playground to Australia, particularly the east coast of Australia. It is very much a playground for people to holiday and travel and so forth. So we'll touch on that a bit more deeper later on. So probably sort of start from the beginning. Myself, as I said, my name is Luis Miguel Alexo. I'm the managing director and co-founder. My other co-founder, Mrs. BRIK, Melinda Alexo, she's also my life partner. So again, that's a journey we started. We've been in property for a long time, but in terms of tokenizing real estate, went deep a couple of years ago and see if blockchain could solve the problems around real estate ownership, so hence why we're here today. But just continue on in terms of myself. As I said, I'm a CPA accountant, have been for around 25 years, lost count the numbers, but I think it's around 25 years. And for me, it's always about in terms of having a good grounding in terms of the fundamentals of businesses and structures and so forth. So over the years, I've assisted, mentored and guided small to medium-sized family businesses. Most of them have been in the property related space, whether it be property developers, whether it be the builders, whether it be the trades, very much in a deep when it comes to the construction and property game, how I've guided some of those businesses over the years. And also in addition to that, being a CPA accountant, obviously been involved in property as well as part of our family portfolios. So we have been, I've been involved in property longer than I've been a CPA accountant. So I've been in that property for around 30 years. Myself and my co-founder, Mrs. BRIK, and again, always around residential real estate, whether we're building something or we're renovating something. It's always been our in terms of the fundamentals, in terms of property, what we do in that space. I have had exposure to commercial, industrial, and so forth to the clients we've dealt with over the years, people we've mentored over the years, and obviously my father. He was actually a formworking carpenter, so I had, from a young kid, I was around construction all the time, whether it be the stadiums, whether it be bridges, whether it be residential apartments, commercial apartments, and everything in between. So that's sort of been my grounding, and although I didn't go onto the tools in terms of as my pathway, I decided the accountant pathway, but again, you get a good ground in terms of the fundamentals of the flow of real estate and construction. So it's very much in terms of in my DNA when it comes to property. So a bit about BRIK BC. So BRIK BC property projects, in terms of the properties we're tokenizing, again focusing on residential, and we decided 2 years ago. One of the major problems with everybody, the people we involved in our circles, in my network, and there's always a common theme around trying to buy investment properties, and that was always there in terms of the banks. They're so clunky, they want everything, they want all your blood and everything else. And again, we just started looking deep in terms of how could blockchain solve the problem in terms of eliminating banks altogether in terms of ownership in property. So again, went down that rabbit hole, and here we are today. We saw that as a blockchain and tokenizing real estate as really the solution, and our model is very much around not having any debt in the mix, so there's no loans involved. So basically, the tokenized properties we put up, they're all owned by token holders, including ourselves. Obviously, we stay for the long term with the property, so these properties aren't sold. They're never going to be sold. So basically, these are held indefinitely, and obviously the token holders reap the rewards and benefits in being a token holder in relation to the specific property token series. So that's just a bit of that in terms of BRIK BC. Probably for the people listening for the first time, whether it's the recording later on, in terms of what is real estate tokenization. So it's it is becoming a buzzword in terms of tokenizing assets, but just to give you sort of the basic fundamentals, what in terms of tokenizing a real estate property, it's just very much. I like to keep it simple to explain it. It's just like you probably in the past have done it, or you've thought about it, or you plan to do it in terms of going in and with 4 other people and buying a property. You don't want the banks involved. Everybody kicks in the money. So say for example, it's a $500,000 property. You'll kick in $100,000 each as 5 people, and you get it on a journey together. You buy that property, you get the benefits and rewards that comes from co-owning that property. So we're doing the same thing, but we're doing it on the blockchain. So we're doing, but rather than being 5 people, it could be up to 40,000 people. So an example, BRIK Koala is a 40,000 tokens. So if everyone just has one, you actually could have 40,000 people co-owning this property and being on a journey together. So that's pretty much what it is. But obviously the huge benefit is that it's on the blockchain. So and anybody around the world from all corners of the world can actually buy tokens in the property. And that's a massive game changer, because obviously with rules out there in terms of foreign ownership rules and so forth in traditional real estate, it becomes very hard for people to buy properties in other countries. Where basically here you can actually rip the benefits and rewards of being a token holder and getting the benefits from that property here in Australia. So we focus obviously around Australia, Brisbane, in our state of Queensland, Brisbane, Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast is where we're tokenizing the properties. But yeah, it's just everybody getting on a journey together. It's on the blockchain. You've got the transparency, so there's no questioning as to who, what, and why, and how, and it's all there to be seen on the blockchain. But now it's obviously the massive thing is that global access to property by anybody anywhere in the world. So and the important thing is that there's no banks involved. There's no accountability to banks, which is a massive thing as to why we decided to solve that big problem with tokenizing real estate. So that's just sort of in a nutshell in terms of what is real estate tokenization. But yeah, today's topic, there's a few sort of sub-layers to today's topic. As we were very fortunate for the STM markets in Miami Beach there in the US, they've actually they were very kind to make us their first community member, featuring their first community member, and they've done an article on us in terms of what we're doing here in Australia in tokenizing real estate. So a big shout out and thank you to Jackson, live from STM Markets. STM Markets, they were actually, when if we go sort of over 2.5 years ago, when we were doing our research and understanding what was asset tokenization and so understand the fundamentals to work out if there was a solution. They were actually one of our key resources that we were investigating, that I personally was investigating as to what was and how and what. So there was actually a great source with Kyle and Herwig, obviously the anchor man for their YouTube videos off the SDA market. So they were very much a key resource when we started out to looking in terms of the fundamentals around asset tokenization. So it's funny how sort of things sort of pan out and obviously engage with community, become very involved. We can say that that we call them our friends, Jackson and Herwig and Kyle and Jessica, Megan, Jason that we've had on our show as well, and Louise. So all the guys there, which we're very fortunate to call our friends, and again that we were very lucky that they chose us to do an article on it, their first feature article. And so I hope you guys enjoy reading that. It was actually posted on Monday, US time, which was a fantastically written by Jackson. So I will put it in this. I'll post it up in this particular BRIK Q&A post after this session here. So so to continue on the activities in terms of them featuring us as their first community member, I've got an AMA sit down with them. So on SDM Discord, which I'll put the link here as well. There's an AMA this Thursday, 4th of August at 4:30 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time. So we'll be sitting down with them to go through in terms of what we're doing. And I better look at the camera because I've had my head down, forgot that was actually recording. So I do apologize if you'll be seeing this recording, the video recording, that you sort of keep forgetting you're going to your normal routine. And but I haven't forgotten about the audience on the video. So, but yeah, look, we're quite fortunate for the guys to ask us to sit down and doing the AMA on Thursday. So looking forward to that. So again, they've shared all that article and so forth across all their socials. So thank you, Jackson, Megan, Kyle, Herwig at SDM Markets, and the rest of the team there. So really appreciate that. And but yeah, so it's very exciting. And on the AMA show, Ask Me Anything show this Thursday, we're actually making an exclusive announcement on their show, which I think has to do with the Gold Coast, has to do with Dolphin. So there will be an announcement made on their show that's be the first time to be heard on their show. So looking forward to sharing that and sharing with our BRIK family in terms of what's happening with the BRIK Dolphin. So and funny enough, BRIK Dolphin is actually we ended up actually naming all our first year animals. So each token series planned out 11 properties planned out in the first year. It's got obviously an animal name. Most of them are native to Australia. So obviously the BRIK Koala is the first one. Got the BRIK Dolphin being the next one. And so basically we're keeping the two locations going. So we've got Brisbane and Gold Coast will be going simultaneously with those two properties. But having a bit of fun, we ended up naming some of the SDM team members after the specific token series. So Jackson was actually named the BRIK Emu. Token Emu, should I say, after the BRIK Emu. The Herwig is actually Herwig's got the macho animal. He's got the token roo, which is actually the second Brisbane property in the series. So and Kyle's got the kookaburra, so he's a token kookaburra. But yeah, the BRIK koala, the koala, Jessica, token koala was Jessica's one that we named her after, and Megan's going to be she's the token dolphin, so she's the next one off the rank. So the BRIK Dolphin is actually is Megan, so we named Megan token dolphin. So just those associations there back to the guys at the SDM Markets and our great banter with the guys. So yeah, so it's having a bit of fun at the same time, but some great activities that we're having with the SDM Markets over the next couple of weeks. So I'll just sort of pause to just say welcome, Philly. Thank you for joining. Abduraz, thank you for joining as well. I apologise if I've said your name wrongly, but yeah, thank you for joining today. I hope you enjoy the conversations and in terms of what we're talking about today. And once we get through the content, then we'll open up for a Q&A session as well at the same time after all, it is called a BRIK Q&A. But yeah, just to get through these couple of points. But yeah, so the Gold Coast that we've got coming up as the next token series. As I said, we've got the Brisbane one going, and then we have our second location going as well. So on the Gold Coast. So yeah, the BRIK Dolphins coming up. So it's a property that, again, we only focus on luxury properties. So that one there, it was always on our cards as right from the beginning. The Gold Coast is what we class as our playground more for the east coast of Australia. So it is our playground where you've got the golf courses, you've got theme parks, you've got the beaches, obviously, the surfing in terms of those fantastic surfing spots. You've got fantastic hinterland in terms of waterfalls and relaxation walk, sort of bushwalks. The Olympics in 2032, although Brisbane is obviously the official Olympic city for 2032, but the Olympic events and some of the where some of the sports are based from They're also going to be based on the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast. So the Gold Coast will have things like the beach volleyball. They'll have some football because they've got the football stadium there as well. They'll have some games, and some of the teams will be based there for the football. When I say football, the round ball game, soccer. So again, it's I think if you try to compare to some of the overseas countries, comparing Gold Coast to, I think it'd be like East Coast, be like sort of Miami Beach on the US, as obviously the playground for the East Coast of US. In terms of UK, if you sort of have a look at England actually, more historically, England would escape to Algarve. So Algarve, which is in Portugal, in the southern part of Portugal with all the nice, beautiful beaches. I think that's where the English escaped to escape their winters. So again, Algarve is like the playground for England anyway. It is the playground also for Portugal, but particularly around England, because I've got a few friends that and the stories they tell me, and obviously myself being born in Portugal and obviously raised here in Australia from the age of 9. I do still remember some of the things back in Portugal when I was a young kid. So it's very much, Algarve is actually very much the playground for some of Europe and specifically England. So just trying to sort of get that relevance in terms of where the Gold Coast sits. So again, it's very much a lot of tourism, obviously. But yeah, it is a fantastic spot. There's some fantastic homes there. You got homes that are like 20 mil, 30 mil in terms of values. We're focusing our really sweet spot when we talk about luxury real estate. Our sweet spot is sort of between the 2.5 mil to $3.5 million US, and that's really the sweet spot in terms of returns. Obviously, in terms of the market, the rental markets, investing in terms of who's actually leasing the properties, in terms of making sure there's actually a wide scope in terms of who's renting these properties. So that's really the niche that we're sort of focusing on in that particular space there. So in the first year we identified 3 properties that we in our properties roadmap. So the Dolphin, the Shark, and the BRIK Shark's going to be after the Dolphin, and then the 11th series is going to be the BRIK Platypus. So the BRIK Shark, who was the STM member? So Luis from Crypto con Leche, from the STM market team, he was named Token Shark. And the Platypus, there was actually a poll as to who would get the last one, Platypus, and Jonah ended up getting Token Platypus. That was a very sensitive one. That could have gone sour, that one there. So I put it out to the polls, and the polls, the Twitter polls decided who actually got the token platypus. So yeah. So that's in terms of what's happening with the BRIK Dolphin. So again, major announcements there on the SDM Discord, the AMA, this Thursday at 4:30 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you can join on that and be able to ask questions. So that's some finer details and a deep as to where it is and pricing and all that sort of details that go with it. They'll be announced at the SDM's Discord AMA. So hope you can join us then. Sort of the next sort of subject is around the real estate exchange and secondary market. So as I've said before, it's important to obviously have a good secondary market in terms of what people can buy and sell the BRIK tokens for the various property token series. So again, it's adding additional liquidity. So obviously on our platform, people can buy and sell on our platform, but obviously we want to sort of get to a point where the next stage becomes listing them on an external secondary market to provide that additional liquidity for token holders. As some of you know, we in terms of our property tokens platform was actually created and it's managed and maintained by DigiShares. So the guys there, they do a fantastic job. They are the best of breed. But very much from the beginning, when I spoke to Klaus, Scanning, the CEO of DigiShares, right from my very first few conversations when we were seeing who we were going to use, and that those conversations was always about also Klaus being able to, well, DigiShares, in terms of their roadmap, was always about that they were going to create a secondary market under their umbrella. So again, that's very much again, it's now obviously evolving. It is called Real Estate Exchange, the secondary market. So it's going to be it's got its brand of its own. So it's on Twitter. They're on it's got their own websites and so forth. So they're going to be launching. And I was had a good chat yesterday through Mark Denker and Emil from Real Estate Exchange in terms of giving me a sort of an insight in terms of how the platform works and how we would work within the platform in terms of listing our tokens on there, our property tokens. So again, it's a great platform. What I saw yesterday, I was really impressed. Again, started off as an idea 2 years ago, well, probably around just under 2 years ago when Klaus had spoken to me about it, to actually now see it in its obviously it's in its very much concept and beta stage as it is at the moment. It obviously hasn't been launched yet, but great insights yesterday in terms of the guys showing me how it works. I was very impressed. Very simple to use, but very impressed in terms of the platform. So again, we're going through the process and seeing how that can work with us and how we can work with them, and having that as a secondary market for our token holders. So yeah, really impressed to say the least. So thanks, Mark and Emil, if you listen to this recording. Really enjoyed the session, our Zoom session yesterday, and I can see us working together in terms of in future around us, you guys being a secondary market. So yeah, so in terms of launch, they were still working through a few things. They had aimed for quarter four to launch the secondary market. So it's going to be again. It's I actually told Mark yesterday. I said I've been actually saying that to everybody. Q4 is probably the likely launch date. So and I said not to put any pressure on you, mate. But that's what I've been telling people. So again, Q4 is realistic. It might be Q1 next year. So either Q4 or Q1 next year will be the most likely scenarios. But again, it's just making sure that it's one of those things. No point rushing. It's making sure that platforms are working to all the fundamentals of it, all the mechanics and foundations all there rightly. So to making sure that when people start using, it's all functioning really well. So but yeah, no pressure, Mark. But yeah, look, that's really exciting. Again, that's always been on our vision and part of our business plan in terms of engaging as that second as an external secondary market, and real estate exchange is very much in our plans when we basically started planning things out from our perspective. But yeah, so it's that's sort of around the real estate exchange side of things as a secondary market with the BRIK Koala. So we haven't forgotten about BRIK Koala. I keep reminding Jessica, we haven't forgotten about you, the Koala Token Koala. So the BRIK Koala is obviously our first property token series, and people can buy BRIK Koala tokens for $80 US on our platform. So the one that's progressing. We've got some announcements over the next few days as well around the BRIK Koala token holders. So I think people will like that. I know we've got a few BRIK Koala token holders in the audience here that I'm seeing, and so I think you'll enjoy that. So look out for those announcements over the next few days. Obviously, once we get the BRIK Dolphin announced on Thursday, so there'll be some things that around the BRIK Koala as well. So look out, watch this space. I think you'll enjoy. But yeah, so that's pretty much the points and the content I wanted to raise today as part of BRIK QA. But again, I'll open up the Q&A. Please, if you want the mic, I'll give you the mic. So this is what it's all about asking questions, and I always encourage questions because it raises some discussion points as well. So, but yeah, there is an NFT on the line. Remember, there's a music NFT from Like Thieves. Here's Matt from the Sporting Sharks. How are you, Matt?
Hey.
How are you, Matt? How are you?
I just wanted to ask real quick, Mrs. BRIK. I know that you guys work together.
Yes.
But would you take her out on a golf outing?
We actually, it's funny you say that. We used before kids. We used to actually go out for a round. Actually, we did. She hasn't played for long.
Really?
She hasn't played for a while. I think she lost interest.
Or maybe you
No,
made her
on the
lose
golf.
interest.
On the golf, that is. On the golf, that is.
You set yourself up there. No, because most men they love to go and do their golf outings when they work with their wives, so they can just get some time. Both of them, because it's tough. I just wanted to ask that. Most guys say, "Hell no," but that's interesting answer. I like to hear that actually. Just wanted to bust your balls and ask you a question I haven't asked you before because I'm always interested, and I'm a token holder.
Yes.
So I just wanted to ask something more personal. So thank you.
No, pleasure, man. Pleasure. Like I said, so she actually used to enjoy playing, and but I think it's also one of those things. I think she's sort of, so that's your thing. That's obviously your chill out and your getaway, and I don't want to impose on that particular personal time of yours. And just like obviously, she's things that she does also that I'll leave her to it. That's her chill out and her own space.
I'll quickly ask: is there any? Is there any legislation coming for gambling in certain parts of Australia, or is there already gambling in certain provinces?
Yeah, gambling's a funny one here in Australia because it was very much centralised before. If you go back, say, 25 years ago. So if you go back, say, around 30 years ago, thereabouts, right? It's so the only gambling allowed. Well, there was only one casino here in Queensland, and they only gave out one casino license on the Gold Coast. It was actually the Gold Coast one, and gambling was actually very much centralised by the government. So they used to have one of the gambling houses in terms of sports betting and so forth. You had bookies, so it was very much a centralised environment. To then decentralise it, they listed their company, that actually the gambling company, they listed on the exchange, and that sort of opened up the sort of decentralisation of gambling here in Australia. So, but it's still very much, well, it's decentralised, but they still control it because, say for example, game machines and so forth, there's a huge amount of revenue they raise from it because obviously the royalties they get from it, the taxes they pay from the game machines, and in terms of sports betting, has become a bit more decentralized. There's different players that have come from overseas into the market, so they're very much like I said, it's tightly controlled. So it's not totally centralized. It's still tightly controlled.
I was thinking more in regards to massive casinos going up like in Macau or something somewhere. There's a possibility, and then you'll have all these workers that need homes. You'll have money.
From that perspective. From that perspective.
Property.
Yeah, Matt, from that perspective. So obviously the Chinese have been huge investors into Australia over the last 20 years in particular. And that's brought a lot of, obviously Chinese love gambling there. And that's provided a massive appetite for gambling here in Australia as far as casinos are concerned. So we've actually got one, I've actually showed some of the footage on some of our BRIK walks. We've actually got a massive casino that I've been following for the last 7 years. So in our Brisbane city, we've got the Queen's Wharf Casino that's currently being built. It's a $3.3 billion spend, which equates to around $2.8 billion US. That's been so it's got all the towers, and that was actually the Star Casino, which is one of our major casino houses in Australia here. That's actually was being built, but was given to Star Casino. So it's going to be multi-entertainment precinct with the casino, where got basically performing arts places, you got restaurants, you got pretty much everything. You think of when you go to Las Vegas in some of those elaborate casinos, that's pretty much that plus more. And this one's been built here in Brisbane. So and the Gold Coast also there's a massive upgrade to the existing casino as well. So that's also a Star Casino. So they have the same family. They're actually doing another tower. They just finished a tower, a very sort of high end 6-star exclusive tower that finished a couple of years ago, which they're actually building another one on the same site. So so obviously Chinese money has obviously driven a lot of the appetite as far as the casino houses are concerned. Yeah. But there was somebody else that came up to wanted to speak. I just missed him. Say hello to.
I think it was Humble. I'm sorry. I'll turn my mic off.
No, all good, Matt, all good. Hey, just saying hello to White Hash. Thanks for joining it. Hope you're well. But yeah, no, it's, in terms of casinos, there's been a massive activity, and again, that brings a lot of obviously, as you said, brings a lot of activity around employment, and so they've actually started to recruit for the casino. So the casino here in Brisbane opens up next year. It's a bit behind the timeline at the moment. Last week in my BRIK, I showed a close up of the progress of the main tower, which is quite impressive design actually, because when they actually done that, it was very much around trying to create something iconic that people will remember Brisbane. Because normally Brisbane in the past has been like, people come through here on the airport and go straight to like the Barrier Reef up north, in terms of the Whit Sundays and the Barrier Reef, and they sort of forget about staying in Brisbane for, staying a few days here. But so this casino was very much built on the premises. It had to be iconic. Like when you think of Singapore, you think of the boat on top of the two towers. That's pretty much how it was a water. It had to be iconic, that people remember Brisbane. They want to stay in Brisbane when they're actually traveling around from overseas, traveling here. They actually want to stay in Brisbane a few days and stay at the casino or thereabouts around the casino. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's very much an iconic project. But actually, just reading the humble miners DMs. He just had to leave, so that's okay. We'll I just actually got some questions from him actually. I will actually. He had to leave, but he actually left some questions on DM, so I will actually answer the humble miners question. So, do BRIK Koala holders receive a return? So in terms of the model that we have, in terms of all our token series, is that we don't pay the rent out. So basically the token holders and obviously own their tokens, and so using the BRIK Koala as an example. So what happens is, in the BRIK Koala token series, we've obviously got the property as the core asset. Then we've also got a crypto portfolio, and that crypto portfolio is going to be an accumulative crypto portfolio that's generated from the net rent. So we don't pay the net rent out. So rather than paying out the net rent each month, we're actually going to invest that net rent into a crypto portfolio, sticking to the major blue chip cryptos. Obviously, there'll be also the Raven coin in there, because obviously we are tokenizing on the Raven coin blockchain. So it makes sense to support the chain that we're tokenizing on. So again, so there'll be a crypto portfolio that's generated by the net rent each month. And also we've got the third class of asset within each token series, which is a dozen NFT art pieces. So we buy NFT art pieces for the token series. So only from the Raven coin, so only NFT artists that are minting on the Raven coin blockchain. So we buy art pieces not just to put in a property, but it's also an asset in its own right. So as most some of you know, with the BRIK Koala's got 12 pieces, 12 art pieces. One of those is the Yellow Stone, a land art piece by Kevin Lynch. So with that, we've got a collaboration with Kevin Lynch in terms of that we are going to be buying. We're going to having at least one Kevin Lynch art piece in each token series. So the Yellow Stone NFT art piece is in the BRIK Koala, and also the land art number 2 art piece from Kevin Lynch is also in there as well. So we're quite fortunate to have this engagement with Kevin Lynch. He's a gentleman, and we have he's someone I call my friend now as well, in terms of the relationship we built together. And so again, shout out to Kevin Lynch. Hope everything's well. And but yeah, so that's sort of our model is basically each token series will be made up of the core asset, being the property, a crypto portfolio, and also the NFT art pieces, a dozen NFT art pieces within that series. So how people cash in their profit, as obviously as the token goes up in value, so the BRIK Koala, as it goes up in value, people how they get profit out is by obviously selling their BRIK Koala tokens on the secondary market. So obviously the cost is $80. So in a year's time is $100. You sell for $100 in a secondary market, you make your $20 gain on it, profit on it, on that particular BRIK Koala token. So that's how people get their profits out as they go on the journey. Because as I said, all our properties are held indefinitely. So there is no objective to sell any properties. So that's in the documentation in terms of the intentions with all properties. These are held indefinitely. We're going on a long journey together, and that from that basically allows us to also be able to educate people in terms of what property investment is all about. Because obviously, given my background in terms of being involved in property and also as a CPA accountant, we've got a lot to offer in terms from a knowledge perspective. So again, we're on a long-term journey together, and hope people as a part of the BRIK family get to enjoy and increasing their knowledge around property investment. So I hope that answers your questions, Humble Wine. I know you'll hear the recording of this. So that was the first one. The second question: do you report how the properties are doing? Yeah, very much so. So we've got a dashboard. So on our website, BRIK-BC website, each property's got its own box, dashboard box. So in there, you've got obviously the three assets in there. Well, you've got three class assets in there. They've got obviously the property. You've got the crypto portfolio in terms of how much the value is for the crypto portfolio, and also the NFT art pieces. The NFT art piece is a bit hard to put a value to it, because obviously being art, it's the value is in the eyes of the beholder, or if there's actually a precedent in terms of what's been sold, something similar. So we just say market value. So it's there, and they're going to be held, and they'll have a value. But again, we just stay conservative and actually not even put a value to it. It'll just be market value as a sort of the box, but there won't be actually a dollar figure as such to it. So the particular box will have those three elements in there that gives you the total market value for each token series. So very much so in terms of, obviously, property is not something you value every day. Crypto portfolios obviously be easy, because obviously the market says what the value is. Property, you're not going to be valuing the property every day or every week. So part of the financial statements, we prepare for the special purpose vehicle, the company, for each property token series. We get those financial statements audited. As part of that process, we also get that value. You get the property valued each year. So then you've got an independent value saying what the actual value of the property is. So again, we've always got a true indication as to where the actual property value sits, which is obviously very much at the core of the value of the actual token, the property token for that specific series. So I hope that sort of answers your questions, that the Humble, in terms of the properties update in terms of how the property values are doing. So just not the value, but obviously it gives you an update, because these are new properties that they need very little maintenance. So how the property is going as well from an external perspective, from outside its value. We will think it. We'll put up videos, obviously, because again, as you guys know, I do my BRIK walks, so they'll be the same thing, going past the property on my BRIK walks. The ones once as they settle and so forth, continue the same journey in terms of my BRIK walks, going past them, giving everybody, the token holders, a visual in terms of how they're doing. But very much so both reporting back on value, as well as in terms of external look of in terms of what the property's doing. So I hope that sort of answers your questions. So it's Humble just saying, I assume that the property's rented. Yeah, just sort of answer that question. So all the property's going to be rented, all going to be leased. As the Olympics rolls out, there's going to be obviously the high demand from executives that want to be closer to the action come 2032 Olympics. So whether it be the sponsors, whether it be some of the companies involved, suppliers to the Olympics, we're going to see this additional demand for the properties that we're renting out. Both Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So yeah, we're in a good space. As I said, this was all planned before the Olympics. So the Olympics, what we call the Olympics in 2032 for us, is a massive cherry on top that we haven't even quantified what the impact is. We know it's going to. All our forecasting has been, especially for the BRIK Koala, it has been around before the Olympics was announced last year. So all our stuff was already done and forecasted out. Based around the two key drivers, that what's impacting our properties in terms of state migration, interstate migrations, people coming up from other states, and also migrations from Australians returning home after COVID. So there were sort of the two main key drivers around our forecasting. And then obviously we got the Olympics, and that put a massive cherry on top, and we haven't even quantified what that means. All we know is that if precedent tells you in terms of what happened with the 2000 Sydney Olympics, there was a massive turbocharge in property 3 years out, and continued to 2 years after the Olympics. So around 1997 to around 2002, there was a massive turbocharge of Sydney property prices. And even today, a Sydney property price typically is around double the price of our properties here in Brisbane. So we haven't even caught up with Sydney. And Melbourne also, the other major city in Australia, we're still like half of their value. So we haven't even caught up with those major cities when you talk about property values. So again, hence why there's still a long way to go as far as property value is concerned, and hence why we've now forecasting and still staying conservative as well. Yeah. But any other questions? Any other questions? The Hubble Mind, you've come in. Yeah, I just add you in. Just bring you in there. Just thinking. There you are. How are you, Hubble?
Hey, for letting me hop on. Sorry, I had to drop off. I'm picking up the little ones.
No, good. How are you? You good?
I'm good. We had a busy day at work. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Can't complain. Yeah,
I had just two questions. One question was on regulation in United States.
Yep.
I'm assuming everything is good and approved. So investors in the United States, there's no worries investing in like coins like the BRIK wallet. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. I mean, and then obviously we got to follow rules in Australia as far as our own rules. We've got our own. Obviously, you've got the SEC. We've got our own ASIC here. So obviously, when we set this out, it was all being compliant. So again, we've made them available to everybody around the world. It's up to people to come in and buy them if they want. So we're not specifically targeting US. We're targeting the world. So it's up to people to make that decision. So it's all compliant. Obviously, DigiShares are our advisors. They created our platform and they maintain our platform. So from that perspective, it was important to engage the best of breed when it came to all things blockchain. So again, we've got a property token that's compliant with all things Australian and globally when it comes to blockchain. Yeah,
that's awesome. Second question. As far as when somebody buys like a coin like the BRIK Token, mm-hmm. What exactly does that represent? And I know I've been in another space, and you mentioned that you guys invest in NFTs and cryptos as well as part of a overall package. Can you kind of explain that?
Yeah. So in terms of our model, in terms of to be compliant, we can't pay the net rent out. Again, this comes back to from a compliance perspective. So what started out as a negative at first when I started putting this model together for our BRIK property tokens, basically I said, well, at the end of the day, let's turn a negative into a positive. And basically that means that we're all obviously in blockchain, we're all investing in cryptos, we understand cryptos. So why not actually invest that net rent into a crypto portfolio? So we're using the BRIK Koala as an example. So the BRIK Koala, obviously it's got its core asset, it will have its core assets in there. So it's a private Australian private company, which is like your LLC in America. So it's a private company. And that private company obviously has the title of the BRIK Koala token, the BRIK Koala property. So, so as we start generating rent each month, so the net rent, obviously we've made a budget around the property in terms of what rent it generates and what expenses are required, what taxes are required, and put a little bit of buffer to hang on to for maintenance, a little sinking fund for maintenance. And then basically we worked out the net rent each month for the BRIK Koala is going to be X. I mean, the figures are on the website, but I haven't got it in front of me here. But so the figures net amount of rent each month is X. We invest X into a crypto portfolio made up of blue chip cryptos, and then that crypto portfolio is owned by that special purpose vehicle that owns the property. So it's contained in there. So obviously then you've got a growing, accumulating portfolio that's being generated by the net rent that's invested into those cryptos each month. Of course, Raven Coin will be one of the cryptos that obviously we're going to be buying. And then in as a third asset class within that BRIK Koala token series is also art. Again, for the properties, these are obviously luxury properties. It'd be nice to have some beautiful art pieces on the wall so the tenants can enjoy and justify the value that in terms of rent we're charging. So we thought, why not actually buy NFT art pieces and especially supporting NFT artists on the Ravencoin blockchain. And that's how basically that came about, us buying a dozen pieces. So each property token series, like the BRIK Koala, we've already bought the 12 pieces. Obviously, Kevin Lynch's Yellowstone is in there. Also the second one from Kevin Lynch, the Land Art #2. So again, it's a matter of having those art pieces not just on the wall, but also have it as an assets within that BRIK Koala Token series. So basically got 3 classes of assets in there that's owned by the special purpose vehicle, the company, being the core asset, being obviously the property, the crypto portfolio, and also the NFT art pieces in there. So that's sort of in a nutshell in terms of our model. That will be the same for each property token series. So the Dolphin will be the same thing. They'll have the same fundamentals around that. So obviously the BRIK Dolphin will be a separate company again, with the assets in there in going forward for the token holders to be able to buy. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. And where all are you guys listed at right now? So I know the Ravenist, right?
So we've got so in terms of our property tokens, we've got our own platform. So when you go onto our website, you actually go into the link into our properties tokens platform. So Raven is just the NFT art piece where we just obviously, again, we mint some NFT art pieces for our marketing. So obviously we give them gifts out to people. Again, the NFTs has been very much a fun side of things from our marketing perspective, as well as in terms of trying to engage people to come into the Ravencoin community. So like I'll get talking with people, just like yesterday I got talking with people, they knew nothing about Ravencoin, and basically I said to them, send me your Mango wallet. If you haven't got one, I'll send you the link to Mango Farm wallet, and I'll send you some NFTs. So again, the NFTs is a marketing from our perspective, as well as trying to also help the community, the Ravencoin community, to bring people from outside to in. And we see there's the NFTs, whether it's NFTs that have been donated to us or people, or we've actually minted some of our own as well to be able to create that activity. So again, we see, my old saying is, rising tide raises all boats. And that means in terms of the Ravencoin blockchain, doesn't matter whether it's an NFT project, our project in terms of being a property tokens platform, or whether it's movies, music, and so forth. I think if we get awareness in terms of Ravencoin blockchain, then we all benefit out of it. So, but yeah, so the NFT is probably not to sort of confuse, and obviously some of the stuff we got on NFTs on Ravenous, that's more of a marketing side of things for us, and obviously supporting, Ravencoin NFT artists, as well as some of the stuff we don't, any sales we make on the NFT side of things, we don't keep, we actually reinvest that in buying more NFT art from artists, as well as our objective is to use that also to support people without homes eventually. Obviously, once we get more volume going on those NFT side of things, is to not just the marketing and supporting NFT artists there, but also supporting people without home. Like my I think I've said this before, my vision is basically is that both from the sales we do on NFTs as a fun thing, and also putting some contributions towards the BRIK tokens, is actually to get a position that we can actually buy a property and be part of a community. We can say to go to a homeless shelter and say, here's a property, use it to people they're struggling not getting homes, and you can support this using our property. So that's sort of my long-term vision when you start talking about doing the right thing and being supportive and especially people without homes. And obviously there's going to be some struggles over the next few years, given obviously post COVID and the high inflationary issues that we're experiencing now, and obviously it's going to get worse. So the NFT side of things, it's just more in terms of one bit of fun marketing, but also supporting NFT artists that are coming in, especially the ones coming into Ravencoin, to give them obviously legs up to get them to start their journey. And some of obviously we're only buying 12 per property, but we're also buying some for our office, for our BRIK BC office. We put up on the screen, on our screen on the wall as well, in terms of, and have it randomly growing, and obviously it provides it's actually very, it's getting out of hand now. Actually, I think we're up to around 500, 600 pieces now of NFT art pieces we've bought on the Ravencoin blockchain from various artists. So for us, we're very honoured to be part of the community, and if that's our little way to support the Ravencoin NFT artists that are starting their journey or already in their journey, and we like some of the stuff and be supportive that way. Yeah. So I hope that sort of makes sense in terms of how we engage with NFTs. So the NFTs is just, and then obviously on our properties side of things, on our real estate property, we've got our own platform, and that's where people buy the property tokens. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. And I don't know if you saw, but I'm looking to do a live event September 3rd, so I'll definitely be reaching out to you. Would love to have you be a part of that and be a speaker. We're going to try it'll be a live event in Braveland, but I'm going to reach out to C3 Media, try and get it on live on YouTube and Twitch, and then maybe pull in Twitter live feed too. So would definitely love to have you.
No, I love it. Come in. I'm locked in, mate. You know me, mate. Right. You know me.
All right. I'll see you there.
Spread the word also. Spread the word. I'll cover it later on in terms of we do the wrap up. Spread the word about Braveland this weekend. Again, it's a community. It's nothing to do with BRIK, nothing to do with me. It's very much a Raven Coin community event, and we're trying to engage with other real estate. So the theme is around real estate tokenization. Trying to invite other real estate platforms to Braveland. Doesn't matter what chain they're minting on. We want to encourage everybody to come on board and to tell us what they're doing. Because then, as you know, Humble, we started on the Ethereum blockchain with the Koala, and then I always had to pivot and change that because of the issues, and pivot to the Ravencoin blockchain. So again, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's out there that's started their journey and having issues in terms of where they've started tokenizing, and maybe just found out through that process that it's probably not sustainable to where they're at. So again, let's spread the word, get people out to Braveland, especially token platforms that are out there in real estate, to come on and tell their journey, tell us their story at Braveland, and all is welcome. All is welcome. But spread the word. Thanks for the questions. I really appreciate the questions, Humble. I'm very appreciative. But yeah, so as we're sort of on the hour, just sort of go into a wrap up. If there's no other questions, we'll go into a wrap up before we finish. Probably just some reminders there. So we got tomorrow's session, which is a little bit early, an hour early tomorrow. What is real estate tokenization? Tomorrow is actually it's Wednesday 3 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time. So I always like to quote US Eastern Standard Time because it's at central time for everybody to know in terms of around the world. So it doesn't matter where you're at. It's much easier just to state one time, and you can look up on your mobile what that means in your own location. So, but yeah, tomorrow is actually, so Jake and I, we host this What is Real Estate Tokenization each week. So Jake Minard, who's also doing tokenizing real estate later on in the year. He's based out of Chicago, so we do this session every week. We usually have some guest speakers come on board. Tomorrow's session is actually about focusing around real estate tokenization, but on the Raven blockchain, on the Ravencoin blockchain. So obviously, there's only not even a handful of us. There's only very, very few of us that are doing on the Ravencoin, because given what we're so early in tokenizing real estate on the Ravencoin blockchain. But tomorrow we've got Sarah and Dan from Hydra Chain. They're doing theirs in Wisconsin, and they're in US. So they've got their property token series being launched soon. So they're going to give us an update in terms of what they're doing. I'll give an update of what we're doing. Jake will give an update of what he's doing, and hopefully there'll be other people that hear this, or people spread the word in terms of if there's any other real estate tokenization platform that's tokenizing on the Ravencoin blockchain, or looking to tokenize on the Ravencoin blockchain. Join in tomorrow's What is Real Estate Tokenization. And lastly, Braveland, as I mentioned earlier, Braveland's on this weekend. So it's always the first Saturday of the month. So Saturday at 4 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time. So this weekend it's about in terms of inviting real estate tokenization platforms from all over the world that are doing it. Doesn't matter what chain you're on, come and join. The Braveland, it's a metaverse campus. Think of a university, but it's even got more than a university campus with all the. It's even got a beach. That's where we're doing it. We're doing it on the beach. So we'll be doing that this weekend. So again, Saturday 4 p.m. US Eastern Standard Time. And then SOS, our favorite musician, NFT musician that mints on the NFT's music on the Ravencoin blockchain. So SOS will be doing a bit of a concert. So we'll cover the content, and then we'll go into a concert at the end at the beach. There's a stage there, so we'll be. He's been working on some. I was actually on a message with him 2 days ago. He's working on some content, new content specific for the session this weekend. So he's put some stuff together that looking forward to enjoy. So I think that's pretty much it. Again, lastly, don't forget to join. There's the AMA. Ask Me Anything, hosted by SDN Markets, Security Tokens Markets, on their Discord channel. I'll put up a link. Sitting down with the guys and having a chat, and we'll be making a major announcement there around the BRIK Dolphin property, our Gold Coast property. So yeah, thank you all for joining it. Really appreciate you giving up your time to listen to this live, and I will be sending the lucky winner the NFT of the music NFT Like Thieves. They're an Australian band based in Brisbane. There'll be the album. It actually includes the album and a few other things on that NFT. So it's there. If you like hard rock, between hard rock and heavy metal music, you'll like this particular NFT. So I'll reach out to you, the winner, and hopefully enjoy that. So thank you all again. Take care. Have a fantastic day, evening, afternoon, depending you're at, and see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Bye-bye.